So I did a video last night talking about 50 years ago today, well, yesterday, since Brian Clough was sacked by Leeds United. So 50 years ago today was that very iconic and totally unforgettable meeting, Brian Howard Clough and Don Revie. Now, for those who aren't aware, so Revie, you know, I remember chatting to the mayor of Middlesbrough a couple of years back. And I said, how come, there's a blue plaque where Clough was born, statue of him in Albert Park, and Don Revie, where he was from 20 Bell Street. Uh, that's probably classed as West Lane, not Winniebanks. Yeah, it's probably classed as West Lane, maybe Gresham. But so Revie was born in 1927. Clough was born in 1935. 8 years between them. And that was vintage television. That was just it's wasn't in my life. I'm 44, 50 years ago today. You will never see anything like that again on television. Um, Cloughie at the time was 39, wasn't even 40, and he did what he did. Obviously, he started off at Hartlepool, didn't have the greatest time at Brighton, but done wonders at Derby County. Took over the Leeds job. Don Revie had went to England, and Clough, 44 days, 1 win, 2 draws, and 4 defeats. And the players wanted him out because it was Don Revie's team. And if you watch that YouTube chat, which I watched in double figures. There's real hostility between them, and I wonder why. Don Revie, Leeds legend, but doesn't really get recognition in Middlesbrough. He put the mighty in Leeds United, got them to a European Cup final, won a Charity Shield, won a League Cup, won the league, won an FA Cup, got them to the European Cup semi-final against Celtic in 1970. He made Leeds United great with a capital G. And Cloughie, he was kind of the special one years before Jose Mourinho. In fact, one of Brian Clough's last very public quotes he ever made was, so Cloughie died 20 years next week, but Mourinho won the UEFA Cup against Celtic for Porto in 2003, and he won the Champions League in 2004, so a couple of months before he died. And Cloughie made a statement, and he said, he reminds me a lot of myself, that Jose Mourinho, when I was young, but I was better looking. And at the minute, Jose Mourinho is in the top 10 of greatest managers of all time by ESPN. Alex Ferguson's number one. Forgot who's number two. It's a foreigner. Can't slips me at the minute. But Brian Clough, Grove Hills, Middlesbrough's Brian Clough is number 3, and it's not bad. That's not bad for just a lad from the borough, from Grove Hill. I'm going to start the book very soon. I've just got a few bits to do with Mickey Duff. This channel's just had its very first troll. So this channel was made specifically. So I'm normally on the Warcry Publishing, and there's been a lengthy. I'm not going to go into it, but there's been a lengthy investigation going on, and I know the end outcome, what's going to come. But this is an effort for myself to. I don't need the drama. I don't do drama. And someone put, the video I did yesterday, Brian Clough, your tiring is great, and there's 64 follows. Listen, when I do that book, BBC Tees will be covering it. And in that book will be some of the biggest names in British football. I've already sounded that out because obviously I did Alan Thompson's book, and I've already spoken to Martin O'Neill and asked him for a forward, and so I'm not tiring anyone's. When that book comes out, that will be the talk of the town, like the Lee Duffy ones and all that. But anyway, I'm not going on to that. But yeah, 50 years ago today, Don Revie, Brian Clough. Oh, bad feeling. It was just, really, they wanted to really give it, but they couldn't because it was live. So it was on calendar television them days. Well before Channel 4. I'm not even sure whether Channel 3 was about. What was this, 1975? I know for a time there was just two channels. This might have been it, because I know Martin O'Neill said to me, he said, in the days of Parkinson and all that, he said he was on the telly every other week. Muhammad Ali and Brian Clough, that's how big he was. Martin said to me, he said he had an aura bigger than any celebrity I've ever met. He said, I don't mind admitting I was petrified of him. So, yeah, as I said, I wasn't born, but that was just vintage television at its finest. You will never, ever see that where it's like, who was a big Premiership manager at the minute? I can't think. So I'm just Arsene Wenger's got It's like Alex Ferguson being sacked, and then 24 hours later they put him on national television with the guy who was before him. It just, do you know what I mean? It's just, it was a time when you could smoke on television, and it was just a different lifetime. And I always say to the wife, I should have been older. So I was born in 1980. I wish I'd have been around late 70s, early 80s. I wish I'd have been about 58 in my life. So I could have sampled the Mickey Duff era, and, the proper, when football was football, people would throw shots and the referee would make them shake hands and all this. And yeah, it was just, life was just, as I said, it's a different lifetime, isn't it? But totally unforgettable. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know your comments if you have not seen it. So that program was, I think it was headlined "Goodbye, Mr. Clough," and you will never see, certainly in a sporting sense, you will never see sporting moments like that again. It's totally unforgettable. My father-in-law's not even he's like just the least biggest football fan you could ever imagine. But he knows about Brian Clough. And as I said, he was just, Paul Sykes did not like football, but he absolutely loved Brian Clough. He was just a giant among men, and maybe a borderline madman stroke genius. But then they say there's a fine line between genius and, like a psychopath or something. You look at your picture of your Albert Einstein to the one of Charles Manson, when they're like that. You're just like, literally, you can't tell who's the genius and who's the madman. But Brian Clough, Don Revie, they had it out live on television. And if you've not watched that, give it a watch this weekend. Just type it in. And it's just, totally unforgettable. I was at Leeds United's ground a couple of months back, and there's a statue of Don Revie. And as I said, Middlesbrough don't really recognise him. I don't know why. They'll name hospitals after James Cook, and it's Don Revie. It was the great Don Revie. Just because he wasn't a Middlesbrough kind of hardcore legend, then as I said, Leeds United have got a statue outside of him, and very rightly so. Just over the road, they've got Billy Bremner as well, and I don't think Brian Clough, I don't think Cloughie will be getting a statue at Leeds anytime soon. But check that video out. Serious bad feeling between the pair. And remember, after all, those two, 8 years between them, but they grew up within a mile of each other. Bell Street, which is, for those who don't know, it's not that far from the cemetery near West Lane. And then, of course, Brian Clough was 10 or 11 Valley Road. To give you an example how close it is to Albert Park, you could probably hold your breath and walk from Clough V's front door to Albert Park. So as I said, they were born within a mile of each other, absolutely hated the guts, but they will be forever remembered in football folklore. I'd like to think Teesside folklore, but Clough V's there. Don Revie's just not there yet. But I remember, as I said, if you Google it as well, there's Middlesbrough Council are starting to talk about doing a blue plaque where Don Revie grew up. Have a great weekend, people. Let us know your thoughts below. And this channel is small at the minute. It's only got 300 people. But like the war cry, there's no negativity. There's no drama. Just positive stuff, positive energy, insightful, educational, unique characters in life. This is what this channel's about.